Hi everyone, this is Nearly the editor with a quick note. This was recorded back before Houston, and all the cards have been revealed since, so some of the opinions have changed since this was recorded, especially if you've seen Matt's deck building guide in Ezreal, which you can listen to on our channel. We want to release this anyway because it's an interesting conversation that we think you'll enjoy. Thanks.
Hello everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Bandle Banter. Today we have a special guest with us, DrRickMarshall. They've been working very close with me on the analytics for Set 2 Spiritforged, and they are playing in Houston this weekend. They've had some great tournament performances with the highest finish, I believe, was it the Rift Labs event that you finished top 3, or was it Runes and Rift?
It was Runes and Rift I finished top 3 in.
Yeah, and I think they're the biggest online tournament circuit right now, if I'm not mistaken. I believe that Rift Labs have gone more to real life, and so Runes and Rift is like the big key Saturday event, right?
Yeah, to my knowledge, that is the biggest one.
That's awesome. So for today's episode, we're going to do something a little bit different, as most of the players that are playing in Houston don't want to spill the spice for their decks or their tech, and we've got a lot of great guests coming up in the future. But at the moment, also since DrRickMarshall is playing, we are in Houston, we are not going to make them reveal their deck. So what we're going to do is we're going to be taking a look at set 2 cards. We've each chosen a couple of cards that we really like from the set, and we've picked out some of the legends and the signature cards, and one of our jobs is to convince the other it's good, and the other one's going to try and convince the audience that it is not so good. And by the end of it, we'll have a bit of a banter, and then you guys can have a laugh and decide who was correct on each of the cards. If we spike the secondary market, I would love some of that affiliate kickback. That would be real helpful right about now. But other than that, if you'd like to support the channel in any way, we'd love it if you could subscribe. So just hit that button down below. You'll know when there's some more great videos coming out, and it would really help us out and continue making the content. But with that said or done, are you excited for this? Can I call you Rick, or do I have to say Dr. Rick? Like, have you earned that level of professionalism?
I mean, I didn't spend 4 years in an imaginary school to get this doctorate for nothing.
I can respect that, and it's going to be Dr. Rick for the rest of the cast.
All right, also, just disclaimer, I do not have a PhD. It is a movie character, but, I spend the time mentally figuring it out, so I appreciate it.
So if I show you, like, this rash that I've got from this one night stand, you're going to tell me I should see a real doctor or a different doctor?
I'm going to say that you might as well just go tell your family you love them. It might be time.
just, yeah, cut it all off. You're dead. You're done. It's all finished. Oh, that's a shame, because I'm really looking forward to Spiritforged. I am so hyped on this set. The reviews have been incredible. There's a lot of new mechanics. I'll do my best to explain them as we explore them. And to make it fair on the guest, I will go first with my legend, and we'll go through it back and forth. So I'll do a legend, then Dr. Rick will do one. And then once we got through that, we'll choose some of the cards that we like. And for my first card, I'm going to point you towards Rek'Sai, actually. Let's get a little bit of Rek'Sai on the go. Rek'Sai Void Burrower. It's a Fury Order legend, so same color combination as Darius. When you conquer, you may exhaust me to reveal the top 2 cards of your main deck. You may play one, then recycle the rest. This card is absolutely crazy. I'm amazed that they printed this on a legend ability. Like, it's absolutely nuts. Like, what's your initial impressions? Go on.
It seems really cool, but you still have to have the mana to play it. So if you have to use a lot of tricks to get that battlefield, then all you're doing is cycling through your deck and getting the deck information.
Yeah, that is true, but we are going to be building a deck to rush them out. It's just the fact that you just get to play without using the cards in your hand, which I think was a real problem with Darius, where if you wanted to play a non-hook version, you just ran out of steam way too fast and you could never score 8 points. Rek'Sai doesn't have that problem. You conquer, tap it, look at the top 2, and then you play the best 2. You don't have to be good at the game. You just have to know which of the 2 cards you looked at were better to play that turn. And if they're not, you just play a card from your hand. So Rek'Sai is kind of foolproof. Like, anybody can play this deck. And you can imagine how that's going to sound when you look at this back, and everyone's going to be like, Rek'Sai go burr. But I think this is an incredible legend, and I want to put it into context with the chosen champion. But yeah, you're right. If you want to play more on the higher end of the curve, you've got to make sure that your smaller units are conquering and you're not spending any of that energy prior to getting into combat, which can be tricky. If you're playing against, for example, Kai'Sa, and it's still going to be around in set 2, they use a Hedge Tech Ray, and they shoot your guy. If you have to spend resources beforehand, then sure, you're not getting the conquer, you're not getting Rek'Sai value, but when you do trigger this is absolutely crazy. So yeah, what are you thinking there, Rick? Like, am I twisting your arm a little bit on the Rek'Sai? Do you need to see a little bit more? Because I can share a little bit more.
You're twisting my arm a little bit on this, because I think what you're going to point to next is red Rek'Sai giving everything accelerate, which that is pretty expensive on top of having to play the card as well on this. And I feel like you run out of steam a little bit on having the ability to get over anything that is big, because I feel like this still struggles hard into Master Yi. You get your Conqueror on the other battlefield, and then you go a whole turn without it because you can't get over the Master Yi, and then you're just like kind of running out of steam yourself pretty quickly.
This is true. If your opponent is on a solid hold deck, the Rek'Sai could struggle with that. You are in colors where you get access to some great gear. I'll explain gear a little bit later in the cast, but let's try and pull it all together. So we've got our chosen champion, the one I picked of the two options for today's episode, is Rek'Sai Breacher. It is a free energy, free might fury unit with no power cost. This is actually ridiculous. I am such a huge fan of free energy champions. It means on turn 2 or games where we are going second, we always have access to our champion. So that in itself is very, very strong. This has Accelerate.
I was just going to say, I think you're going to really like two of my chosen champions as well, if that's a big criteria, which I do agree with you. That is a very nice aspect of this Rek'Sai.
Yeah, I think that's something the game deeply needed more stuff to do if you were going second, as the first point scorer was such a big advantage. And I think free energy champions as a chosen option that you can even decide into is just really strong in general. So we're probably going to be on the same page, and I'm going to try and talk bad about some of your options, which is going to be a little bit out there. But yeah, Rek'Sai Breacher, free energy, no power cost, free might, Accelerate. You can pay 1 and a Fury Rune as an additional cost to have it enter ready. It's got Assault 1, so when it's attacking for 4. Friendly units played from anywhere other than the player's hand have Accelerate. So this obviously works with the Void Burrower effect. There's also the signature spell, which I'll bring up a little bit later. But also what you can do with this is Baited Hook. Cards you play from the deck have Accelerate. So this is absolutely crazy. You just get so much value out of this. Like, if you play this on turn 1, then turn 2, you ready this, you send it in. With Assault, it probably conquers. Reveal the top 2 for Void Burrower. Play a card, it has Accelerate, score the other point. You went second and you're already on both points. Like, what's not to love here?
It does seem to be a better high rolly option than Darius currently, and I do like that. But again, it is pretty high rolly. You're playing off the top of your deck, which inherently is kind of scary, kind of risky. That's kind of why Jinx is pretty tough to play this set, because you have to get your hand down and then you just have to play off the top decks, which is a little bit difficult. But with your idea of Baited Hook, I do think it's funny to have a 7-8 might Draven Showboat coming in with Accelerate and just dominating the battlefield on turn 2 is pretty funny.
Yeah, that would be pretty annoying, actually. And it's just like anything that comes off the top has Accelerate. You can choose not to play anything if something doesn't tickle your fancy, but even stuff that you're getting off of like Baited Hook is going to be able to go in immediately. So this just feels like a straight upgrade to the Darius strategy, to be honest. I think the Chosen adds a little bit more, even though Darius is Chosen. What is it? Darius Trifarian, I believe, is the red one.
Yes. And then also, before I get called out, Draven Showboat would not have 7 might on turn 2. Also, to push back a little bit on this red Rek'Sai here, if you're doing it as a turn 2 play, like you're saying, against red decks, and Kai'Sa will likely still be around, maybe not as dominant, but still around, you still can't go up with it safely unless you're just okay with getting Hextech rated. Now you're behind a whole turn, and you lost your chosen champion to a 1 mana card.
Yeah,
that feels pretty tough.
That could definitely be tough. The Assault only applies while you're the attacker, so if you just walk into Array, which means it's very economical for Kai'Sa to just sort of leave it back, that 1 energy to shoot you. So that could definitely be an issue. But if you play it to base and don't move it forward, if they Falling Star this, I think you're kind of okay with that. If they put both triggers into this, you haven't paid a power cost for it. It's a little bit of a setback, but it could be a lot worse. And I think when this does go off, it puts you so far ahead. But you're right. It is a vulnerable unit that you're going to have to work around. It might be a little bit more beneficial to play it out a little bit later in the game when you've got access to more runes. I'm also kind of a huge fan of the Rek'Sai strategy, playing Karma, where you have so much recycling in this deck that you just start handing buffs out like they're candy. It's like, yeah, here, hold this, hold this. Oh, that's a 4 my Rek'Sai with a buff, and it's going up to 5 on attacking. Oh, you reveal cards. Oh, don't worry, you can play one of those that has Accelerate. And you know what? We'll recycle the other and give that guy a buff as well. Like, Karma in this deck goes off. Like, I am super hyped to play Karma in Rek'Sai. From the initial testing I've done, I'm like, oh, this seems a little bit nutty.
There, I will agree with you on Karma. Like you're saying, hear it here first. Buy your Karmas now before they go to $20.
Yeah, absolutely. And we do have a preferred vendor who are friends of the channel, mostly because they let me play with all of their really cool Riftbound cards, and that is SideQuest Games. They run an eBay shop, they do ship internationally, and they are a great place for singles. I promise I'm not going to fill all of this with ads, but I'm doing a big shout out for Jake, who's the owner. He's a friend of mine, and it is a really good business, and it is a great place to get your Karmas before they price spike. You heard it here first, and if you don't have your Karmas and you start complaining about it to your friends in set 2, I want you to send that friend this interview, and then they'll be like, "Oh, well, I should have been subscribed." You know, there you go. We're bringing it all back. We're bringing it all together to a cohesive message. All right, the last one I'll talk about for the Rek'Sai package is Void Rush. This is the signature spell, so only Rek'Sai can play this. It is a Fury Order card, so the power cost associated with it can be played with either Fury or Order. 2 energy, reveal the top 2 cards of your main deck, play one of them, reducing its cost by 2, and then draw any you didn't play this way. It's a draw spell, and in a color that didn't have draw spells. I love this so much. And also, like, you don't lose the energy by playing it because it reduces the next card you're going to play by 2. Now, it can suck if you reveal 2 massive units and you play this early and you can't play them, but then you just draw those cards. 1 power, draw 2, with the opportunity to be able to play one of those cards for the 2 that you invested in this. This is probably one of the best signatures printed to date. I would be tempted to put my name on the line a little bit here, from my experience. I think this card is crazy good.
I can see how not having to kill your own unit to draw 2 is good in a deck like this.
Mm-hmm.
But I will say that's if you end up just drawing them both and not playing one, that's a lot of hand information that you're giving your opponent in a game where you're just trying to out resource your opponent. They get to know 2 full cards in your hand. You probably have only 5 cards in your hand, so just about half of your hand. It lets them play around you a lot easier. And at the top end, I could see that being a little bit of an issue. But I do think it is pretty good value, and I'd love to see more and more signature spells actually be good compared to set 1.
Yeah, set 1's signature spells left a lot to be desired. There was so many that were like almost there, and there were some that were so far away where you're like, we're not putting Tibbers in our Annie deck. Like, we see you, Riot, but we're not sold on what you're selling right now. You've also got crazy chain plays with Void Rush, where you can play Void Rush, reveal the top 2, find another Void Rush, play that, reveal the next 2, and then the one you can just add the other card to your hand, and you end up like 3 cards in the deck. It will start chewing away at your power, but I think this is a great signature card, and I think this is gonna be a big one on the secondary market as well, because Rek'Sai is just go burr, and it's very friendly and easy to play, I believe. So I think it's gonna be a popular tournament deck.
I do agree that it should be easier to play some of the lines. You really are just how can I get the most value out on the board every turn, which is nice. Do you see yourself ever using yellow seals, or do you still believe, or are you one of the believers that seals are always just a dead card? Kind of in a game with only 40 cards in your deck and you're drawing so few, we can't have a dead card like that in our deck.
That is a very interesting argument that we have constantly in our internal little Discord chat. We've got a bunch of players where we're all doing our brews and talking about all the different cards we play. Seals are ones that we are quite divided on. I like seals. I'm actually okay in some of my more power hungry decks just playing the 1 copy of seal. I think 1 seal in set is very, very strong because when you draw it, it's great, and if you don't, you're generally okay with that. It's hard to give up multiple cards if your deck doesn't have consistent card draw, but not paying power costs is such a big deal. And we saw how ridiculous Kai'Sa was because she wasn't paying power costs on her spells. Now, the difference is that Kai'Sa got access to a lot of card draw and the spells were doing stuff, and you didn't have to draw and play a seal. You just had access to it from turn 0. But I think seals are really good, and I think they are especially good in set 2 with all of the equip costs, which we'll talk about in a little bit. So are you a seal hater? Is that what I'm hearing? Have I found the heretic?
I don't hate seals. I think it has its uses in decks, like especially Darius Hook is a great example, but that's because it opens up to one of the most powerful turn 1 plays of playing a seal out, using Darius's legend ability to get an extra mana, play out Vanguard Captain, and you already got 3 units on the board turn 1 that you normally wouldn't even be able to play one of them.
Yeah.
So I think it has its places. I know every Magic player comes over and goes, what? Free mana on a gear? This is amazing. And then go through like, I don't know. And then like they go, oh, it's amazing. They play it. Like I get bricked on this too often, cut it down, and then sometimes they just cut it out. I do like your point of one of seals in a deck. Our other good buddy CERN, who's a really good deck builder and Master Yi player, was running 1 green seal in his deck. And to your point, if you get it, great. It helps a lot in the early game. If you don't get it, it's not the end of the world. But it's like if you have a one of, you're getting it about 10% of the time. So like every 1 in 10 games, you're having a much better time than you normally would.
Yeah, I like to play the seals at the moment as a bonus factor in the deck as opposed to building around it. I think there are now more decks that are viable for running multiple seals, but I'm sure we're going to be exploring one of those when we talk a little bit about Ornn. I'm pretty sure Ornn's going to be on your list. But I think seals are fantastic, and I think people should pick up at least 1 copy of each seal and just try it out, just because then you can tell if your deck is better suited for using seals, if you want to increase it, or if you decide it's not worth it at all. What champion and legend would you like me to pull up next? Like, let's get you to sell me on one of your choices.
Irelia.
Aha, yeah. This one
was an easier time to sell on for sure. Blade Dancer, Legend, Irelia. When you choose a friendly unit, you may exhaust me and pay a power of any color to ready it. When you conquer, you may pay 1 energy to ready me. So it's a very similar role as that Yasuo card. You have to send a power back, which is a little bit expensive compared to 2 energy and just move to a base or not. But this is just ready as well. So it's a little bit more versatile than just moving to a base or back. Because that lets you have stuff like the Windswept Hillock, which is a ganking battlefield. It gives you more chances to like double conquer. And then also this whole deck and this whole idea is a lot more, I think, is going to be centered around the green Irelia, if you want to bring that up.
Of course, let me get you there.
Irelia Fervent is a 5 energy, 4 might champion unit. It has deflect, so anybody that Kai'Sa wants to target this is having a much worse time. And when you choose a ready me, give me +1 might this turn. And we've seen how good Kiana has played into Kai'Sa with having that deflect, and now we have it on a much better unit as well. So that's very exciting for me. But I can see this deck playing around a more protective president kind of style deck. Because I rarely hear when you choose a ready me, give me +1 might this turn. That takes all of your buff spells now have 1 might more efficient. They are 1 might more efficient. So an on guard is a +3. That's crazy. Irelia is getting to 15 plus might consistently. And a lot of your cards draw you stuff. And if you play a battlefield like Dreaming Tree, the first time you target me each turn, you get a draw. So your on guards now draw, your disciplines draw. You can have gear on her as well. You have Mask of Foresight, which gives her +1. That gives anything +1, but it just, again, this unit is getting way too big to deal with. You go in, you choose her with the spell, you exhaust your power, you ready her back up, and you come back out to base. So now the only thing that can kill her is cards that target the base, like Fallen Star, which already costs 2 power. And then you have to play deflect on that twice. It's too much of a risk to play that on just Irelia.
Yeah, okay. Oh, wow, I've got my work cut out with me here because I believe Irelia is really, really strong. It's power, so it's not even energy, which is what makes it so crazy because you can play on curve and then still do the nonsense this allows. It feels like a very power-hungry deck to get the most out of it, and anything where you're playing lots of power becomes inherently risky if you never get to a late game. So I do really like that Fervent doesn't have a power cost. It is a crazy card. In terms of the number of cards that actually remove it, there's not a lot. And it also happens to be in the color that has all the counter spells that say, get your hands off my card. You know, so she's going to be a bit of a menace for sure. I think, yeah, with Aurelia getting the value out of this early potentially could be a little bit difficult in terms of you start burning power early, you fall behind on the curve, and that makes it a little bit more challenging. But if you get out of that early game, which you've got so much powerful mid game that really a Fervent is just running over stuff and then going back to base, readying again, moving in again. And there's lots of ways that you can trigger it, right? With whenever you choose me, so when you attach a gear to her, she'll also ready, right?
Yeah, you can ready it off of that. You have a card like Feral Strength, who's that new 2-drop +2 with repeat as well. So you can choose it twice, give it +6 off 4 mana. You got a whole bunch of ideas here. Brutalizer, like you're saying, attaching a gear is targeting it with that. So that's pretty strong.
For our listeners at home, let's just quickly explain the rules for weapons. So weapons, when you play them, they go to your base, and then you can pay their equip cost to attach them to the unit. If the unit is killed or sent to the junk pile or returned to your hand, the gear just falls back to your base, and then you can reattach it to another unit by paying the equip cost again. Units that have already been equipped, you cannot take that equipment off of them unless you've got an ability that would allow you to do so. So one of the keywords in this set is Weapon Master. When you play that unit that has Weapon Master, you can move an equipment and attach it to them, even if it's attached to another unit. But normally, you can't just take the equipment off and say, okay, I'm just going to move over to the guy in base, and now my guy in base is going to run in and smash your face in. And having access to the equipment to trigger Aurelia as well is just kind of nutty, to be honest.
And like we were just talking about in Seals, this is a deck that maybe wants to run 2 of Seals since you're going to be sending power back so often. There's a chance for that. I would need to test that more to say that with my chest, but I can see it maybe having a spot. And then another idea is not one of my chosen cards, but there's a purple 2-drop that has been revealed called Treasure Hunter. When I move, play a gold gear token Exhausted.
Treasure Hunter. Actually, I do love this. I like how we're kind of cheating some additional context in here, but it's fine. We kind of have to. But I really
gotta talk about the synergies and why it's strong.
Yeah, this is really good. Do you want to walk us through this this card with Aurelia? I've got my work cut out of me. I don't know how to say this is bad because it just seems crazy.
Yeah, so you move, you play a gear token, and then now every time that you want to ready a unit, you just use the gear instead of sending a rune back. You don't deramp yourself, and you get at least 1 to 2 uses off of this likely, because you can go up at least and just kind of suicide into a battlefield, and that still gets you a gear token if you need it, or a gold token. And then if not, if you're still running cards like any likes you use, like Flash or Fight or Flight, which are probably going to be used still, you then get another free movement off of this while keeping it alive and getting another gold. And that should be like 3 gold. This with 1 Flash is probably 3 gold pretty consistently, which is pretty nice. That's 3 instances of readying a card with Aurelia for free.
I also think, for a newsflash for anybody who's wondering if Annie is still going to be playable in set 2, I think Annie gets absolutely ridiculous in set 2. Treasure Hunter obviously making gold. To explain a little bit more about gold, effectively, you get these tokens that go to your base. So they don't begin the game in your deck. And you can kill this gear and you exhaust the card. Then you add a power. So effectively, think of it as like getting temporary power. It's like a seal for 1 turn, and then it just gets removed from the game. And you've got a lot of cards in this set that efficiently make gold, which makes a lot more of these power costs more palatable. For example, things like Aurelia and Treasure Hunter, who gets it every time you move, and then Aurelia readies the Treasure Hunter, who then goes on another adventure. It's going to be cool. I'm quite a big fan of gold. I think gold is an excellent addition to the game.
Yeah, and to your point about Annie being strong again next set, Yi is likely also going to be strong again next set, I will say. And I think a lot of this comes down to who would have thought free stats on a legend that you don't have to do anything for is just good, or just free resources, because 2 runes from Annie, like when you get stuff for free, it's pretty strong. Here you're getting it, I realize, less of for free because you still have to do something, but it's something that you're already doing anyways in your deck's game plan.
Yeah.
So it kind of like just say skip that rule a little bit, because if you look at the top decks from this set, Kai'Sa, Annie, Yi, all 3 from turn 1 are giving you something for free. Yi maybe turn 2, you're arguing, but you're getting stuff for free very quickly. The closest ones that don't do that is Set, but Set lets you to remove any kill spell with 1 rune, which is also a bit silly.
Yeah, I pay 1 power to blank your really scary removal card on my card that I need to keep alive. And it is actually to the point you were making, like how quickly you start getting value off your legend. It was something Sold Out also said during their interview, will determine if that legend is playable. And Aurelia seems very strong. There's a lot of cards in the set that really go with this. Like, for example, Vex is another one. Do you have Vex on your list? Will we be talking about Vex a little bit later?
I actually do not have Vex on my list.
All right. Then we'll quickly call up Vex just for our listeners. Vex Cheerless is a 5 might 5 energy unit with 1 chaos power, so 1 purple power. While I'm in combat, friendly spells cost 1 and a power less to a minimum of 1 energy, and enemy spells cost 1 and a power more. So this is actually even better than I originally thought, as your opponent ends up having to pay 1 and burn a power for deflect, and then your spells like Discipline are cheaper. And of course, when you play that on this card, Aurelia readies it, and it can just move around battering things. You get to make a lot of advantage out of the additional mobility that Aurelia gives you. And I see the Aurelia deck doing really, really well. I think the next promo prize card is an Aurelia. Kind of, I would say it gives direction on what I think Riot thinks is going to happen, but then Misfortune Bounty Hunter didn't really see any play in set 1. So, that's not a sure thing.
I also will say, if I could jump in real quick,
yeah, go for it.
They were kind of saying yellow is going to be the best and that Proving Ground Legends were going to be bad. So they've missed the mark before, but I do think Aurelia is pretty strong.
Yeah, we're going to be seeing a lot of Aurelia when this set comes out for sure. And there's just so much value you can get out of these synergies. And even if it's not Aurelia Legend, Fervent is going to be played in the green decks. It has 0 power cost, and it does a lot for what it does in pretty much every kind of combination you can play it in. Huge fan of this card. It's going to be very obnoxious to deal with.
That is one point I did not say myself, is that the no power cost, like you were saying, it is very nice to just be able to play a unit out in base. It has deflect, so it's a lot safer than, say, your Rek'Sai is.
Yeah.
And you just get to sit there, develop, and not ruin your runes and your ramp, which is very nice. Also, when you choose or ready me, so I believe it's 4 on defense, and then whenever you're ready for your turn, it'll be a 5. So it's a 5/5 might on your turn, a 5/4 might on your opponent's turn.
Yeah, that's 100% correct. And it's just ridiculous. If you think about like how this card would fit in the format, do you think Kai'Sa would be the dominant deck if this card was in set 1?
It would be a little bit tougher, because, I mean, an on guard giving +3, so I'm already a 7, so you do commit to a falling star. I mean, you say, okay, I have to get rid of this unit, and then I'm in a really good spot. Then they on guard it to 7. You wasted 3 runes, and you kind of just lose on the spot. So you have to be really careful with this. You have to do your other ways of like Watcher and attacking a battlefield. But then again, it would probably be played in green, purple, like Yasuo. Then you have stuff like flashes. You have a lot of other stuff. Also, this would go amazing with Last Breath as well, because you on guard it, and then Last Breath as well, another choosing and a ready. So that could be +1, another +1 on top of that. It feels really nice. It feels like disgustingly good.
Yeah, I think Yasuo would have had a lot more tools in the box if this card was in set 1. Also Ahri as well. Like, I think it would have opened the top level meta game quite a bit, but then Master Yi would have also had access to this. So I don't know. We'll see. But like, I definitely see Aurelia Fervent being very, very good.
And also to backtrack real quick, because this is one more of my cards that I had with Aurelia here, just because I took each legend. I took the Chosen, the Signature, and I tried to get 1 card of each color to go with it. But when you were talking about Vex, my other purple card is Hard Bargain.
Hard Bargain.
Which
oh my god, this card.
Goes back to your point of, and he's going to be good. And he's going to be good. But even in Aurelia, you come in with your Vex. So if they're leaving any mana up for responses, they already have to pay 1 and a power more to respond to your attack. And then you make them pay another 2 mana with this. So on your turn, whenever you attack a battlefield and they have responses for you, they're paying at least 2 more for those responses, which is a lot of mana to keep up to be able to respawn. And you can even repeat this as well. So that you could be costing 4 more mana. And like we were just saying, if you're coming in with Vex, it'll be 5 mana and a power more to play the Hextech Ray that you want to play.
This card is absolutely disgusting in Annie. It's just 2 energy, no power cost reaction, play at any time. Repeat 2, so when you play, if you pay the additional cost, so you basically pay 4, you get to repeat the spell and apply its effect twice. In this case, it counters a spell unless its controller pays 2. It doesn't care what the cost of that spell is, how much power it has, so things like Defy, you just straight up cancel it. And it's in Chaos, it's a purple card.
Amazing points there.
The thing that I don't think this card is quite as powerful in non-Annie decks. And that's because the way the game kind of works, that anytime that you don't spend energy that you left up, you are paying an opportunity cost to deny your opponent something. And that might be, I'm going to Hedge Tech Ray your guy as it walks in. If you're playing Kai'Sa, it's going to be a Void Seeker, leaving up quite a bit of energy in order to shoot something. If your opponent develops in that window instead of walks up, and they end up ahead on tempo, they can swing the game when the runes are more in their favor. So if you keep trying to leave 2 up to hard bargain your opponent, you can find yourself in a situation where you end up falling behind on the curve just to keep this spell available to you. However, in Annie, you don't do that. Annie just gives you the 2 energy back that you can use to then counter your opponent's falling star. And that is disgusting. Like, Annie should not have access to this card. I really hope there's an oversigned version of Annie in the next set, to be honest. Like, she deserves it. Spirit Blossom Annie would be really awesome. It's just such a strong legend, and this is a kind of example of where her legend ability may end up becoming extraordinarily problematic.
And then, to your point as well, Annie runs a lot of 2-cost spells. And then now, if you fit Vex into Annie, and she's into combat, you now get 2 spells instead of 1 spell in reaction for free.
Yeah,
which is also very nice.
Yeah, it's like kind of what we're doing with Annie right now is we're just like trying to replace the worst card in the deck for each of these new cards that just kind of slot in. And there's a couple in set 2 that add a lot of different avenues for playing the deck in this strategy that it wants to be played. But Hard Bargain, I think, is not so great in something. I think it's okay in Yasuo, but again, I'm usually spending all of my energy to do stuff or holding up. When you're holding up, you already kind of have to be in a winning position or you're taking a risk. And I think Hard Bargain encourages players who maybe don't understand the fundamentals of develop versus press and move. It can be a bit of a trap to fall into. So there are going to be people that lose to their own Hard Bargain, interestingly, I think.
One point I want to bring out to you on losing to your own hard bargain. I believe this is more of a card that you want to play on your turn and like make them waste their mana up on their responses and not be able to afford their cards more so. And that's why I think it's so good in Irelia, because you're playing this protective president on Irelia where you're going up, you're conquering, and you want to like come back to base and be safe. So you want to make that combat safer when you come up. So this 2 here, you have all your mana on the turn because you just started your turn. You're coming up, you're playing your spells, doing whatever you want to do. And then that's when Hard Bargain is its best. So I could see it being like a 2 of, and you want to use it, you want to focus on using it on your turn. Again, because of how it makes them have to keep more mana up to have a response.
I agree with that. Like, particularly in Aurelia, which has a very, very pointy stick that it's going to be thrusting at your opponent on its turn. Being able to have denial to your opponent's limited amount of responses when they're also being forced to play deflect costs and stuff will be a lot better than trying to use it to countering your opponent's falling star, for example. Or I can definitely see this being as your insurance policy. For Aurelia, it's very good, and the fact that it has 0 power cost is very good. Mana Leak was a very good card in Magic the Gathering, which basically countered a spell unless your opponent paid free mana. I don't think that card's been reprinted in a long time. I'm not a Magic the Gathering player, but it was very obnoxious, and this has the potential to do the same for sure. And in Annie, I think it's a bit of a monstrous card. All right, I believe it's my turn to grab another legend, and I'm going to be pulling up Lucian Purifier. So this is a Fury Body legend. Your equipment each give Assault 1, so +1 might when attacking. This is kind of a bit basic for a legend ability, but it is very subtle in such a great way. Firstly, you don't have to pay any additional resources. Your equipment just give you additional bonuses when you have it. And what it actually reads is that legends like Ari don't have a passive. Legends like Yi have half a passive because you tack in and then you get the assault, which offsets the various debuffs or buffs that you're going to be getting from those champions. It also counts up if you've got multiple weapons equipped to a unit. You end up with like Assault 2, Assault 3, and then you start getting to some silly numbers. Lucian feels very, very strong, and I'm going to be talking about the Chosen Champion as well. And actually, both of the Lucians are very good, but for one of my 2 cards in Body, I wanted to talk about the Orange Lucian. So I'm going to be picking the Red Lucian, Lucian Gunslinger, as the Chosen to pitch to you. Lucian Gunslinger has Assault 1, +1 attack while I'm the attacker. When I attack, I deal damage equal to my assault to an enemy here. It's a free energy, no power, 2 might unit, so it's a bit below the curve, but it is a card you can take as a Chosen. It already has the assault, so when it attacks in, it's a Corsair Corsair Crackshot, I believe, which is kind of a bad card. So Lucian is that. But as soon as you attach a weapon to it with the Lucian Legend bonus, you're going to have Assault 2. And then you're shooting things for 2, which is not bad when you think about it. You move in, let's say we play Doran's Blade. So I'll just show you Doran's Blade and explain that. Since I think Doran's is going to be a pretty good benchmark for all of the equipment.
I agree.
Doran's Blade is a 2 energy equipment. It's a gear, so when you play it, it goes to base. Equip, you pay a body power to attach it to a unit, and it gives a unit +2 might. So we can put that on our Lucian Gunslinger. Lucian goes up to 4 when it attacks. It has Assault on its own, so it goes up to 5. Our Legend makes it Assault 6, and it shoots something for 2. So potentially, that little free energy unit is trading with your opponent's 8 might unit, just in terms of dealing damage and then running over it. Which is very, very strong. I think it's kind of hard to get the most out of actually shooting your opponent's units, but it has like a lot of spike potential in terms of like flipping a table, but it doesn't have accelerate options. It's very low on the might, so I can definitely see this being a bit of a risk. What are your initial thoughts?
My biggest pushback here is that I personally believe purple has had the best reveals. The cards look very strong, and I think this is the weakest into purple that can just move around. I can ride the wind away. I can't ride the wind to the ability, but I could have a hidden card, fight or flight, push you back.
Yep.
I could flash my own guy away and just let you waste your stuff, all your assault, and I come in on your maybe 4 might guy if you have it equipment on, which is a lot easier to deal with. He's not Orange Lucian, so he doesn't ready himself to get himself out. I think it is decently strong, like you're saying, but I think it struggles to purple, and I might stamp that purple could be really, really good this next set.
I think a lot of people really want to play Chaos. They've wanted to the entirety of the first set. It's just been a little bit lacking. Yes. It's like, it's so close. And like Lucian...
I don't even know how much is lacking, though, because we've seen Annie do great now. I think it's just... Riftbound is new. I know we've had all the cards since July 23rd. People have been playing for a year, myself included, already. But it's just such a new mechanic of battlefields and movement to like a card game that I've never seen in any of the other card games I've played. So it's been hard to wrap around how to actually properly use it correct. And we're going to look back at set 1 and be like, oh, purple was pretty strong, and we just didn't know how to move our cards.
That is actually a big case, as we've seen in some of the online tournaments, some of the top headliner players winning, or not winning, but getting like top cut slots with weird things like Lux. And you're like, oh, does that mean Lux is better? It's like, no, in the most cases, they're beating players on the fundamentals of development versus opportunity cost versus movement, and they're just kind of winning in that basic sense with legends that are less powerful. But because they understand that, they get the game a lot more. They're getting better results. But I definitely...
we got a lot of league players coming over for all the lore, and they maybe don't have those TCG fundamentals.
Yeah, I do definitely see some problems with Lucian Gunslinger just getting blown up from so many things just looking at him. But you can also play Cleave from set 1, which is the 1 energy, give a unit assault free, and then you just attack in, you get an additional assault. You shoot something for 4, and then if you've got your legend ability and a weapon on, you're shooting something for 5 as you move in, and then you're hitting something. Like, there's a lot of cool cards that give assault outside of just weapons, but I also think this card is going to be very hard to play outside of Lucian Chosen Champion. I don't think it just slots into the Annie deck, for example. It's which is unfortunate, which I'd like to see from an epic rarity card, to be honest.
Yeah, is the Orange Lucian a rare?
Lucian, let's get you back up.
I do believe it is your...
It is a rare, actually. I'm going to talk about this.
I think this one is infinitely better. Yeah.
Yeah, we're going to talk about Lucian Merciless on one of my cards, but I need to talk about Lucian's signature spell because, oh boy, this card does a lot.
I've heard you may or may not like this card.
Oh, I am definitely on the Lucian boat right now, and I am happy where it's going. Relentless Pursuit, 2 energy action. It costs a power that can be paid with either body or fury. Move a friendly unit. You may attach an equipment with the same controller to it. This turn, that unit has, when I conquer, you may move me to my base. So it's Ride the Wind. You just get Ride the Wind in colors that shouldn't have Ride the Wind. Oh, and you get to retreat the unit after it's done horrible things to your opponent. And you get to move equipment, so you get Weapon Master. And it costs the same as Ride the Wind. This card is
to your point of Ride the Wind, you are basically doing what you would always do with Ride the Wind anyways, of just kind of moving to the battlefield and then moving back to base so you're safe. I do like that. The equipment movement is amazing because right now, we're not going to talk about them today, but Jax is the only legend ability that lets you move an equipped attachment without tricking it off with Weapon Master.
Yeah.
That could be very strong.
Yeah, like having the ability to move your equipment around. And you can do stuff, for example, with Lucian Gunslinger, where you have a unit onto the other battlefield, your opponent takes it off you, and then when they try to move into the other thing, you can go Relentless Pursuit, move my Lucian, it's now an attacker. It's got Assault, I get to attach that weapon to it, I get to shoot a unit, I get to run over your unit, can potentially kill both of your guys, score the point, retreat. Oh, yeah, that other point that you want to put units on, I've got a Lucian Gunslinger ready to go in and just light the place up. Like, and that's like one use case for this. There are so many amazing cards. Like, you could Relentless Pursuit Kai'Sa Survivor. Move her in, draw a card, bring her back to base. Oh, she's still ready. Send her in on the other battlefield, score again, draw another card. Like, Relentless Pursuit is just, the signature spells are just such a step up from set 1 and Proving Grounds. They are absolutely bananas. Like, I love it. And it lets you break the color pie. So the color pie is like a theory in Magic the Gathering game development, where effectively different colors get access to different effects at different prices. And that's just kind of how you build it out in a spreadsheet when you're building this. And what they've done with the signature spells is said, what is the flavor of this champion or this legend? And we're going to give them access to it, regardless to whether or not that color combination would normally get it. And I'm all for it because it's just so cool to see some of these ridiculous effects in colors that shouldn't have access to them. Although I may not be saying that.
The thing is bashing around, so this is great. You're not purple, but you still get that movement, which is great.
Yeah, I don't know if I'll still be saying that when I get Relentless Pursuited my opponent from 7 to 8 and they just run me over because they had this, or multiple copies. But we'll see. Right now, like, this is going to be another chase signature. It's in aggressive colors. I think the Lucian deck, when you're looking for the aggro, you're going to be looking at Rek'Sai, or you're going to be looking at Lucian. And Rek'Sai is probably going to end up going more of a hook direction. Lucian's probably going to end up going more of an Annie-style aggression deck. But then you always have to question, why do you not just play Annie? Which just seems to be getting better with the new cards. But what are your initial thoughts with Lucian? Is it something that you see a lot of problems with, or like what's your
I do think the legend ability is a little bit weak. The whole giving another assault for your equipments, I don't think that's as good as like we want it to be. But one thing I just thought of with your combo there that you were just talking about with Kai'Sa, your draw one, and then if you can look up the equipment Bone Shiver for me.
Bone Shiver, okay, this is another new card.
That's the one. Yeah, it's in your color. Yeah, this guy. So now Kai'Sa is getting both ends of Kiana and doing it twice in the turn. And that actually just terrifies me, what you just said.
For our listeners and our people also enjoying this on Spotify, we are also now available as a podcast on there. Bone Shiver is a free energy gear. It's a weapon. It has an equip cost of 1 energy and a body power, so 1 orange power, to attach it to a unit you control. When I conquer, channel 1 rune exhausted, plus 2 might. So the thing with Relentless Pursuit is you just ignore that cost, slap it on. Oh yeah, with Kai'Sa. Move her in, score with 6 might, draw a card, come back, get a rune, go to the other battlefield, score, draw a card, and channel another rune. That's, yeah.
Yeah, and then honestly too, if you'd rather have the deflect, I guess it costs a power to play her, but Kiana as well with the same idea. You get both sides, and then now you have the unit with deflect as well, which I don't know how that would be better. If you would rather have the accelerate unit in Kai'Sa or a deflect unit in Kiana, I guess I'll come down to testing and what's most relevant. But either way, you can just get both ends of it.
Yeah, you've got so many great options for 4 slots in Lucian. I'm just trying to check my list to see. I didn't actually put Rel on my list, but Rel is another great champion that I think we'll see play in Lucian. I'll just bring it up quickly. We won't go too far into it because it's not on the list. Rel is a 4 energy, 4 might unit. Rel magnetic. She has tank, so she must be assigned combat damage first. Very powerful keyword, as people are finding out with set Kingpin. When I attack, you may play an equipment with an energy cost no more than 2, ignoring its cost, and attach to me. So you just get to take something like a Doran's Blade straight out of your hand and slap it straight onto Rel. With Relentless Pursuit, you can equip something you've already got to her, send her in, and then play another equip from your hand, and it has tank. So it can protect your units. So in response to your opponent moving into your battlefield, you can suddenly move Rel in and suit her up, and then your opponent just gets absolutely blown out because they can't beat the tank and they can't hit the other unit on the battle point. I think Relentless Pursuit, I think the Lucian deck has such great... I think the biggest problem is how many quality 4-cost units. You're going to have to choose like the best 2. I don't think you can really support more than that.
Even Draven's not bad for you as well, because you put a unit on 1 equipment on him. He's a 6 going up to at least an 8, getting a gold token as well. Like, that's not horrible.
You're referring to...
Maybe not as good as you want to do. Yeah,
Raven Vanquisher. 4 energy, 4 might. And when I win combat, you play a gold gear token exhausted. Very, very good if you're playing lots of weapons, because it then pays for all of the attachment cost. When I attack or defend, you can pay a fury power. If you do, give me +2 might this turn. Yeah, that's a 6 might attacker if it doesn't have a weapon that makes gold. Seems pretty good to pay off all your power costs, and your opponent doesn't want to attack into it. Even if you win on the defense, you get gold as well. You can't use that gold immediately, but Draven 4 is, or Draven Vanquisher, I should say, is a very good card as well. And like, you've just got, that's the problem with the Lucian deck. You've got such quality all concentrated around 4 energy that I think that it's going to be a little bit difficult with the initial testing to figure out exactly what you want, but it does give you a lot of side deck options into different matchups.
Yeah, what actually gives you the most value. I do agree there. One quick question about Rel.
Yeah.
Unlike Defy, it doesn't have like a power requirement on it. So can you play Longsword with this, or...
Energy costs no more than 2, ignoring its cost and attach it to me. Yeah, you would be able to take Longsword. Longsword is on my list, so I will talk about that when we get to it. But yes, you'd get to play Longsword without paying the power cost, which is insane. Really, really good. I love Longsword. I think Longsword's great. And again, it will also go into Annie, but we'll talk about that in a bit. What is your second champion there, Dr. Rick?
This one, you might have to convince me on a little bit. It is Ezreal. I think
Ezreal
seems pretty weak, but I'll do my best to steel man it.
Okay, no. We can work through this again. You're supposed to be talking about all the cool stuff for this card, but walk me through Ezreal. What does Ezreal do?
Hey, legend in your drawing cards. That's cool, right? You only have to choose people twice. That's surely going to be easy, I hope.
Yeah, so Ezreal Prodigal Explorer. It's a legend. It is Mind Chaos, so you're going to be playing it in blue-purple. It has an ability Exhaust, Reaction, draw 1 card. Use only if you've chosen enemy units and or gear twice this turn with spells or unit abilities. So a bit of card draw to supplement all of the tricks and tomfoolery that Ezreal is known for in League of Legends.
Yes, exactly. And I do think most of his best cards aren't revealed yet on the multiple targeting. You have a card like Bellows Breath, which is a 1 energy, 1 blue power spell action. Deal 1 to up to 3 units at the same location with repeat 1 and a blue power. So that's a way to quickly get your drawback, and you can get rid of some your 2-cost opponents, but like that may be less relevant. But again, a way to get the draw off of your legend.
You can do it with Singularity. That's a pretty good card to play.
Singularity is a good card. It's a little pricey, but that one is very good. I do agree with you there.
Kill 2 opponents' units, draw a card. I'm all about that. I could be convinced that that's pretty cool with Ezreal.
Okay, you know what? You're doing a better job than me.
Do you want me to fight for Ezreal? Do you want me to fight for Ezreal? I will
It's
say,
good because we're going to go off to the blue chosen champion here. Ezreal Dashing is a
Mhm.
4/1 blue power, 3 might, and basically a baby Yasuo, a green Yasuo. When I attack or defend, deal damage equal to my might to an enemy unit here. I don't deal combat damage, and then you have the option to pay a blue power at an action speed, move me to your base. So basically, baby green Yasuo, and it's the first time that we get, if you played Magic, first strike, essentially.
yeah, God, see, this is where all the cool things I say about Israel goes out the window. I think this is a bad card. I think it is trade bait for people.
I think we could put an equipment on it. It's doing some more damage. But the good thing about this is your target. Wait, does this count for the?
Yeah, it
The
counts towards the
legend
targeting, so it definitely does a lot, and it does it on defense as
So
well.
yeah,
So
this was smoke screen as well. You're just killing a unit here. This is great. You're killing a unit, getting your draw. You're going up for free. You're getting your conquer, and then you can action speed move back to your base afterwards. You don't even have to have ride the win.
this is true. So there are good things with this. My main gripe with it is that it is 4 energy, 1 mind power. So you pay a blue power to play it for a free might unit. So anytime my opponent's Kai'Sa can play a 1 energy Hextech Ray and kill my chosen champion that I pay power for is bad. Especially if I've spent 4 energy and a power and my chosen champion gets obliterated by that. I also don't like that Noxus Hopeful is such a prominent and powerful card. The 4 might 4 cost unit that you can play if it's a second card in your turn. The Legion ability triggers and you can play it for 2 less. It's going to be showing up in Rek'Sai when you play it out the top of your deck for 0 because you played Void Burrower, Void Seeker on not Void Seeker, sorry. I'm still trying to remember Void Rush. There we go. We're getting there eventually. Ezreal isn't so good into that matchup, interestingly, but there's some cool stuff there where like it makes it difficult for your opponent to attack in because it shoots it on the defense, so you can move out, you can move in, you can shoot stuff. The problem is like after combat they heal, so it's not like you can do a trick where you shoot them as they move in, you use his ability to action speed, move back to base, pay your power, then walk back in and shoot them again and go, ha, I got you. It's like, no, they would have healed because combat would have started and resolved. But I think there are certain matchups. I actually think that Ezreal Dashing might be playable in a different deck. I think you put it in Ornn. I don't think you're supposed to play it in Ezreal.
You could I need to put credit to Lucas Luna, one of our favorite deck builders in our little group chat here. But one thing that he mentioned was Reaver's Row with this goes pretty good.
Yeah.
Because you get to go in, you can trigger it where you trigger Reaver's Row, move back, then you trigger his ability. So you still do the damage and you get to move out.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. To its credit. I think I like it in Ornn because you get to pay for power cost for equipment, and then obviously if you soup up Ezreal, so if you play, for example, a Discipline, which gives +2 might and draws a card, go to 5, move in, shoot something. That's a lot better. I weirdly think Ezreal Dashing is perhaps not the best Ezreal for the Prodigal Explorer. It does have a very.
Yeah, we don't have the purple one here on this website yet. Hopefully by tomorrow we'll know for exactly sure what its text is, and I do hope it is better. But also though, I will say it's pretty. I kind of like it for just getting out that card draw of your legend because with that Reaver's example too, if you just stupefy them, they're coming in like you said at the hopeful. You're now doing 4 damage to them, moving back. You're getting the draw for the stupefy and the draw for your legend. You're just trying to win on your card advantage.
Yeah, in that sense, it feels great. Actually, I think one of the coolest cards for Ezreal, and it's going to be a part of pretty much, I think, almost every blue deck is going to be playing the Chemtap Cask. It's not on my list because this wasn't one of my colors, but when you play a spell on an opponent's turn, you may exhaust me to play a gold gear token, exhausted. So when you play your Stupefy, you just get to exhaust this gear and start making gold, which then starts paying for like Ezreal's power costs to keep him protected. It's action speed, not reaction. If it was reaction, it would be so busted because you'd be oh, try and kill my guy. I'll just Arcane Shift him back. Well, Arcane Shift is actually the signature spell, so I should say I'll just move him back with his own effect. But it's not, it's action, so you can't respond to an opponent's ability to kill Ezreal, so Ezreal still gets trapped by that. But Chemtech Cast, turning all your Stupefies into gold, your Fight or Flights, your smoke
Your
screens.
flashes, your ride the winds, your smoke screens, like a lot of good options here.
Now that pays for your singularity, which kills 2 units and draws a card in Ezreal. I think it's going to be one of those difficult decks where perhaps we appreciate it a little bit later when people had like quite a while to play with it. I think a lot of people start with this, and then they're going to really struggle to see the value compared to Rek'Sai or one of the other champions that are more immediately more powerful. I'm going to talk about that with my last champion in a moment.
Yeah.
But
to your point there, I think the one issue that I could struggle with is that you'll get lots of card draw into cards that will draw you more cards. And then it's like, okay, I need something to do something now. I don't need just more card draw and all this. Because like you're saying with that gear that gives you a gold when you play it off, I think that could go well with one of my other cards I chose with this blue card is Premonition. It's pretty expensive. I think it's ON, sorry. PREMON.
Sorry, I am just being a little bit special with the typing there. So card.
It's pretty power hungry, but we can get some gold tokens out with the blue Poro, which is I'll talk about that later. But the blue Poro, all you need to know when it's a 2-drop. When it conquers, get a gear token.
Yeah, gold.
So that's gold token. Thank you. It's pretty strong. I think this card is better in Kai'Sa because that's then reading 2/1 power, draw 3. That's pretty sick. Pretty cool, pretty nasty.
Yeah, so for our listeners, this is a 2 energy free power. Sorry, 2 energy free mind power card. It's reaction speed, so play before spells and abilities resolve. Draw free. Draw 3 cards for 2 energy. It costs 3 power, but that is pretty nutty, especially if you're using gold tokens to offset that cost and Kai'Sa's ability as well.
It's a better progress day.
Yeah, I think Kai'Sa's quite happy to just consider playing 2 power in a grindier match and use its legend ability to just draw 3 cards. Kai'Sa is probably going to consider some of the options that generate gold as well, like you said, the Poro, which we'll talk about. But I can see the cask being used to pay for these for some of the more grindier decks. Like, what is her correct name? I do want to make sure I say it. But
Renata?
Yes, Renata, the legend. I'll just pull that up. We're not talking too much about her today, but this is. I was originally when I saw this, I was like, this legend ability is basically blank. But seeing all of the really cool cards to support her, you've kind of got like an extreme late game deck that's very combo heavy, and Premonition will definitely find a home in this deck. But I, like you said, I can also see it being played in Kai'Sa a lot, potentially Ornn as well, if generating power is easy in that deck, which I'm sure you'll tell me all about, as I'm pretty sure Ornn's on your list.
Yes, and the one thing about Renata that I want to touch right now is that what are 2 of fan favorite decks? We got Darius Hook and we got Aurora. Why do we like these decks? We like to gamble. Let's go.
Oh, we like to go to the casino. When we show up to our event in Houston, we're in the casino hoping that our Mind Splitter comes down when our opponent has nothing on the point, and we hope that our dead booms come out.
The dopamine hit when we get to play out a 4-cost Jace, killing one of our gold tokens, and playing out that 7 energy, 1 yellow power gear token that plays out 3 recruits every tap. It's JAYCE.
YCE. Okay, yeah. No, probably not on Piltover Arc.
I am wrong.
Oh, next I've set it to Legend. I'm being just. I've got the wrong filter on. Jace, Man of Progress.
Oh, there we go.
4 energy, 4 might. When you play me, you may kill a friendly gear. If you do, you may play a gear with an energy cost no more than 7 from your hand this turn, ignoring its energy cost. So, a little bit of a cracked card. We just get rid of one of our golds, and then we could, for example, play the card that you were referring to, which I believe is called
right there.
The Vanguard Armory. It's
7 energy, 1 yellow power. It's a gear. You can tap it to play 3 1 might recruit unit tokens. You may play them to different locations. So wherever they need to go, they can go. And that's on a gear. So every turn until they get rid of it is 3 recruit tokens coming in. Grand Plaza might be real.
I mean, yeah. This is just like incredible, especially for Victor as well, right? If you can get the Jace combo off, I think the biggest problem they're going to face is if they make a Jace Legend, that all of a sudden you don't need to draw that combo piece, and I could see that coming up, but that will be escaping a little bit from the cards we had chosen. But there's some exciting stuff definitely to be explored with Jason and Renata. I could see that happening. So
that's just fun. I had to mention it because I do love me a good gamble deck, and that's just like, hey, let's just get a whole bunch of stuff out every turn. But back to Ezreal, the goat, the little blonde boy that dashes around. I mean, like you said, it's cool that has its own mechanic on the blue Ezreal. The only one that has first strike, to my knowledge, of what's been revealed so far.
Mm-hmm.
The floor for it, like you're saying, I will admit, pretty low. You play him out, you move up, you get Hextech grade, and you cry. Is the worst case here.
Yeah, and I think the Chosen's is kind of a bit of a problem. Like, here's an honest question for you, and this is going to speak to more of your competitive experience. Are you playing this over Teemo for the Mundo DDR deck? Because effectively you're playing the entire same deck with a different legend. Would you replace Teemo with Ezreal?
I kind of would. I think it might be a better vessel. Gain more draw cards. You play just a whole bunch of spells at target. You play Merchant. You just pump your trash up. Get more draw cards. You get to yourself better and faster. So I think you really play the same exact way, and you just get more card draw, which I think it would benefit the Mundo deck. That is my biggest use case that I see for him currently on this. But yeah, I personally could see it being at least explored and not just instantly written off.
Yeah, I think it'll be actually really interesting to ask Prismaticism, who's going to be a future guest after Houston and Orlando has wrapped up, to see would they switch from Teemo to Ezreal. I think that's going to be a really interesting question, because I still think being able to hide cards for one instead of paying a power cost on Teemo is very, very strong, and the Mundo Teemo deck is a fan favorite, and it has actually been putting out some pretty reasonable results. It is real. It's not a joke like originally we all thought when Teemo first showed up on the format. I'm always excited to see them whenever I cast Thursday Night Fight nights as well. Thursday Night Fight.
It's a very real deck. I do agree with you. And then if you could go to Edge of Night real quick, because that was my purple card for Ezreal, which I think works really well with Teemo as well, as we're just talking about here. You have a hidden 3 energy cost gear equipment. It gives +2 when it's equipped to an ally. It has hidden, so you can hide it at a battlefield and then react to it. And when you do play from hidden, it essentially gets quick draw. When you play this from face down, attach it to a unit you control here. If not, the equipment is 1 purple power.
So I think this is a Rawlings nightmare. I joked a little bit about this before, because the way we were taught that gears work is from Zonya's Hourglass, which is from set 1, is that when you activate it from hidden, it goes to your base. That's where gears have to go. And then you can resolve the effect of Zonya's for any unit killed anywhere on either battlefield or in your base. Sounds great. If that same logic is applied to Edge of Night, when you activate it, the first thing you do is you place it back to your base, and then you can attach it to something here, which means in your base, not the battlefield where you want to attach. It's so sneaky that it makes the rules a little bit wonky. I'm pretty sure if you just remove the word here from this card, it works entirely as intended. I'm sure there'll be a little FAQ or errata for it, but initially when I read that,
they only want it though at that battlefield. So I don't think they want it to be able to go to somebody at base or the other battlefield, which makes it a little bit hard for them to verbalize that correctly. But yeah, like with the intention in place, playing it to the unit there, or Ezreal is now dealing 5 damage and then moving back, or again with Reaver is moving back for free instead of paying the power. You
can do it in response to your Ezreal trigger, right? They move into attack, and then you activate Edge of Night. He goes to 5 and shoots them for 5 as they move in. And it's like, aha, that Darius wasn't expecting that, was he? Boom! Straight into that. But you could also do some cool stuff with Edge of Night, right? With Bandle City, with Teemo, reveal the Teemo, and then make the Teemo 6 might. And it's like, oh, okay, yeah, I just walked straight into that. And then you can pick the Teemo back up with your Legend ability, and then Edge of Night goes back to your base, and then you can attach it to something else. I think Edge of Night is a really good hidden card. I'm a big fan of hidden equips for sure.
I mean, all of these equipments are essentially reading, hey, every green deck ran discipline because +2 is strong. Let's give you something that's just discipline for the rest of the game until they kill it. So you just have it every turn. You're just getting discipline's value without the draw, of course, but you're getting its might value every single turn after you play it, which is just that's good value. Like, how can you say no to that?
Yeah, and if you're in Teemo, you're not even paying a power cost to hide this card. So you get the equip for free. So you pay 1 to just basically get a permanent +2 until the unit is killed. Edge of Night is very good. You can also use Teemo's signature spell that very few people actually play to get it out of your trash if you discard it with something like Traveling Merchant or many of the other options. Edge of Night, I think, is a great card, actually. This is going to be a really cool gear for its color, and I'm excited to see play around with it a bit more. But even in Aurelia, right, you could be playing this as additional cards to just pump her +3 if you're playing it with Aurelia Fervent, just from hidden, and it's just like, oh, that's disgusting.
Yeah, it slightly goes against the not wanting to hold strat on that, but like it's still worst case.
Yeah.
A +3 the turn you equip it going in.
Right, so to talk about my last champion and my last legend, in this case, well, I wouldn't say last champion, but my last legend I'm going to be talking about is Fiora Grand Duelist. Fiora Grand Duelist is Order Body. When one of your units becomes mighty, you may exhaust me to channel 1 rune exhausted. A unit is mighty when it has 5 or more might. I think this legend is deceptively powerful. Like, I actually see this being top tier, because I was thinking, what would make me stop playing Set, because it's in the same color combination, when you have access to Showstopper? And, like, what would possibly pull me away? And Fiora might actually be the one to do that. The main reason for that is just, like, getting a unit to become mighty is relatively easy with all the gear, the weapons, the various buffs, but there are some other clever ways that you can trigger this repeatedly by playing around with units that are around 4 might. So one of the cards we'll look at will be Xingzhao. That's on my list. But Set Brawler. So let's do a little bit of rules digging here for Set Brawler. The way that this works, this is the overnumbered version from Spiritforged. When you play me, or when I conquer, buff me. If I don't have a buff, give me a +1 might buff. Spend my buff, give me +4 might this turn. So you pay 5, you pay a power, you put this into play, it's 4 might. It triggers, because you've played it, you attach a buff. It became mighty. You can use Fiora to ramp that rune. Next turn, when you ready the Fiora, we remove the buff, so we spend the cost to put the ability for Set Brawler on the chain. Set Brawler is at 4 might. When it resolves, it goes to 8 might. It became mighty. Fiora exhausts, and then ramps you another rune. And you can do that effectively every time Set Brawler is moving. You are not losing power. In fact, you're gaining net positive off of that. And doing tricks with units that have access to things such as 4 might is just really, really strong. And I see that, for example, for Trifarian Warcamp, when you have access to the Fiora from set 1, or any 4 might unit, when it moves, like Kiana, even, which is in the same color, moves into Trifarian Warcamp, you get +1. Oh, I became mighty, Ramparoon. Oh, and I'll get the trigger effect as well, and I'll get all of these extra things. Fiora has a real opportunity to be an excellent deck. Like, what are your initial thoughts, like, hearing that power and that kind of, like, quick explanation of it, Dr. Rick?
I
Am I on copium? Know. Is that what you think? Am I getting high on my own supply?
You're on copium a tiny bit here, because I see this as being active the same time Volibear gets active, and then you're really just arguing, would you rather have red and orange or orange and yellow? Which I could see an argument that you would want orange and yellow over red and orange a little bit, but I don't think you're using this too much more often than Volibear uses his. And I think it falls to the same thing. Why Volibear is a little bit weaker this set is that it's a turn delayed mana that you're getting. You play the thing, it's exhausted, it's in for the next turn. Whereas stuff like Annie is 2 energy your turn or your opponent's turn, so like half a turn faster. Or Kai'Sa, which is a seal, which you get to get on your turn and not have to have it be delayed by a turn.
That's fair. I mean, Volibear does definitely have its troubles with that, but we have seen players doing quite well with Volibear, such as Barfling. And we've seen quite a few of the China regionals. There's been like a random Volibears just show up. But you're right, you can't use the rune immediately. You can use it to pay power costs, which leads me quite nice on a segue into one of the chosen champion options. So Fiora has access to 3 different champions that you can choose. Fiora Worthy, 3 energy, 3 might champion. When a unit you control becomes mighty, you can pay a border power, so a yellow, to ready it. A unit is mighty when it has 5 or plus might. So this chosen champion that has all the same benefits we talked about with Rek'Sai Breacher at the beginning of being able to play it out immediately, as soon as something becomes mighty, you can just pay a power and you add accelerate to everything, effectively, providing you can boost it up. And your legend is paying that cost for accelerate on all of those units. So I think this is a very cool chosen champion to go with. And that's one of the things that you get off of volley, is that you start moving bigger things faster than the volley bear.
I guess that is fair, because like both of them you can kind of get up from turn 2. Because volley bear, if you go second, or you have Obelisk Power, you have all your Blazing Scorchers, all your Brazen Buccaneers, like all of that stuff from turn 2, where like on your turn 2 is when you're getting stuff mighty. So I do like that you can just accelerate them for less, like instead of 1 in a power, it's just a power. So it's a cheaper accelerate. That is very good, because accelerate is a very good mechanic in the game. So you're winning me over slowly on that.
Yeah, and I'll show you another. Let me keep twisting your arm a little bit, because I feel like I'm getting a little bit of room here. So I've heard your objection. Like, this is my sleazy car salesman pitch. Can I interest you in Xing Zhao? I feel like it solves a lot of the problems that some of your pain points that you've been bringing out. So Xing Zhao Vigilant is a champion unit, 3 energy, 1 order power, 4 might. That is huge. It's massively overstated for its cost. I enter ready if you have 2 or more other units in your base. So they could just be exhausted units that just moved there. They could be units you just played. You get to put this in ready, and it moves, and it has tank, so it will protect your smaller units. And if it becomes mighty, you can ready it again, and it can move back, or it can move to the other battlefield. You can do really cool things with this. It's also free energy cost, and it's in order, so you can play it in Rek'Sai. Can you imagine getting this outside of Fiora? I appreciate I'm trying to hype up Fiora right now, but outside of, like, in Rek'Sai, just like, look at the top 2. Oh, play Xing Zhao. Oh, I've got 2 guys in base, so it comes in ready. Score the other point. Like, Xing Zhao is obnoxiously good. Like, in my early testing, this is, like, to me, one of the chase rares of the set. I think this card is absolutely cracked. And I want as many copies of this as possible.
It's got a lot of text for its energy and its might. I do agree. Tank is good. The text itself is good. Like you said, 3 energy for 4 might, but there is a power cost, but that's not the end of the world here. I am a fan of Xing Zhao here.
Yeah, I am a huge fan of Xing Zhao. I think it's an excellent card. I think it's great in Fiora. I think it's also very great in Rek'Sai as well, and probably also Azir, who we'll I'm sure we'll see in the future. And if this is the kind of content that you enjoy, us sort of like debating new cards and trying to win each other over and stuff, if you let us know down in the comments if you want to see a part 2 to this, I'm more than happy to sort of that. I'm sure Dr. Rick will also find a bit of time. But yeah, I think Fiora has legs. I think it's strong. I think of my list, Rek'Sai is the strongest. But we've got one more of yours. So should we get to Ornn?
Yes, bring up Ornn, the big boy, green and blue. It's ORNN.
ORN.
There's no I in it.
He's weird. Of course he is. He's a mountain god.
Fire below the mountain. Calm mind, or green and blue. Legend Ornn. Reaction. Tap me. Add any power. So basically Kai'Sa, but instead of spells, you can only use this to play gear or use gear abilities. I mean, I've seen Kai'Sa be good. Why is this not going to be good, right?
Kai'Sa at home. Kai'Sa's playing spells, but, you know, there is a lot of good gear in this set, so I can see it being good. But go ahead.
Why play a spell? That's only there for 1 turn. Gear is there forever. Why do we need to play spells when we can play gear instead? You know? It makes seals completely free, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, Ornn can be very power hungry because you get to play seal for 0, and if you're using things such as Premonition, you're going to be able to draw those cards at a reduced rate. We've got access to make all the power to play those gears, and we get to play access to some of our more ridiculous gears. I can see why they decided to not make this body, so you couldn't play it with Aurora, perhaps, especially considering one of the chosen champions. But Ornn is cool.
I will
like
say
this.
Yes, and then I will say, people will say, why use a seal when you already have the seal on your legend? Well, one, You then have Kai's ability for free if you and better because it's for anything. And 2, if we go over to the blue chosen champion, which is my favorite, I know might be a hot topic here, but blue Ornn champion unit, 6 energy, 4 might, deflect 2. Has weapon master, and if that isn't enough text, let's add some more. I have +1 might for each friendly gear. So not only is that seal free, it's also giving you +1 might on your Ornn. Also, amazing alt art there too. Very sick. One that I'm looking to pick up for sure myself.
Yeah, this card is a bit nuts. Deflect 2, like to get that in set 1, we had to play the
We had to play
9 cost
9
volley
energy,
bear?
2 power to get that. And now it's on a 6 energy, 0 power. So it's 2/3 the cost and no power on top of that. Like what? Like that's crazy.
And it has weapon
I
master.
think deflect. Yeah, exactly. Let's just keep adding text to a card that already looks pretty cool. And I feel like deflect is going to be overlooked a little because a lot of your stuff to deal with this, you're now saying your only way of dealing with this is unchecked power, Call of the Week, and Watcher. Which
are we playing this in
2 of the 3? I mean, maybe.
If we're making gold is a friendly gear. Gold is a friendly gear, right? So we get +1 for each gold we have.
The great thing about this card is that you can play it in so many different types of deck. Like you were saying, any mass gear deck, like a gold spam or something like that. Renata as well.
Yeah.
You're spamming out gold and other gears. You got any mass gear, any mass gold, and then you have mech builds as well, which is kind of funny because one of the cards I didn't choose. Well, I mean, okay, I kind of cheated. I chose 3 cards with Ornn because they're all part of the mech kind of build. If you could just click on blue for me instead of having search by Ornn, because one thing that's funny in Ornn, I think it's going to be possibly real to play Ornn as a mech build. Because 1, you have Bubble Bot there, that first one. 3 energy, 3 might is essentially first mate for only mechs. When you play me, ready another friendly mech. Mm-hmm. You have Breakneck Mech, which is at 8, 2 mind power, 7 might. Your mechs have deflect and ganking. I enter ready if you control another mech. Again, we're going to be getting gold tokens, hopefully, so that 2 power won't be too bad. Mm-hmm. And then the card right to the right of that, Experimental Hexblade, I believe it's called. Equipment, 1 energy, 1 power to equip. I am a mech. So you can make your blue Ornn a mech and get all these other fun keywords. Give it essentially a pseudo accelerate / move back, ready it, go to another one with Bubble Bot. Like you have a lot of stuff. He's going to get pretty big. This gives +1 and another +1 because guess what? It's a gear. So it's +2 on Ornn himself.
Yeah.
I think there's a real possibility that you could. I know I'm crazy. It probably won't be just good enough, but I think like there could be something to a mech Ornn. I know this is my more crazy take.
I don't hate it entirely, to be honest. I think Ornn, providing you've got like a good weapon, he's a bit lackluster. But like if you're playing like lots of gold or something, it does put you at vulnerability to Thermo Beam, which is if you haven't got those, you want to buy them immediately because you can melt all of your opponent's gold, all of their weapons, and any of their other nasty gear. But I see the Forge God being a centerpiece for a lot of decks. You can play it with Jace as well, right? To cheat some of the other gear into play if you want to, and you're not worrying too much about power cost because your win condition effectively doesn't have a power cost and it protects itself.
So I want to push back a second on. I forget exactly what you're just saying, but the gear hate on it. 1, I think decks might be silly and run Rocket Barrage or run that new red 1 cost one that like it isn't fully revealed yet, but it's 1 cost, 1 power, destroy gear, they draw 2. And this is 4 energy, 1 blue power, spell Rocket Barrage. Repeat, choose 1, deal 4 to a unit in base or kill a gear. So you get 2 spells in 1. Basically, you can choose which one you want, which is great, and kill a gear. So I think they might use this over Thermo Beam, because you just have more optionality. And then when they do that, Ornn is going to force Thermo Beam into decks, I think, though, like you're saying.
Yeah.
But to our point of, you are good on power. Because 1, this costs no power. 2, your legend is paying for power all the time. So instead of running Defies, you're going to be able to realistically run Wind Walls. skills, and you're going to have to because Thermo Beam is a killer.
Yeah, if you're going too hard into that, then Wind Wall is going to be very necessary. I do like the Rocket Barrage. I think this is a great Kai'Sa because Kai'Sa did not have a cheap option to answer Aurora, and this Rocket Barrage does that. You don't pay the power cost for it, and you don't have to pay the repeat. You are quite happy to just pay 4 energy, kill opponent's Aurora to not lose the game.
Exactly.
And if you do get to the higher higher energy caps later in the game, you can potentially be clearing out a gear and a unit, or you could be shooting 2 units with this. Solid card, but yeah, no, Blue Ornn, very, very good card. I think it's going to be one of the more dominant forces.
And if I may continue on with you a little bit here on Blue Ornn, I think you might actually be running 3 of these guys in your deck. A Green Ornn is also interesting and good, but Blue Ornn here, I just have +1 for each friendly gear. So like the equipment doesn't even have to be attached to it. All of them are getting that +1. So they're going to be decently sized, at least 6. If you don't have 2 gear and this and Ornn by the time you're playing it, you're trolling. And then if I may cheat out a couple cards that technically are on my list as well.
Yep.
If you look at battlefields, can you look at the battlefields, please?
Yeah, of course. Let me just pull those up.
Yep. You can get rid of the color requirement.
Yes, a bunch of battlefields did get revealed in Chinese today, but they're not currently in Piltover Archive. They will be in the very near future.
But Treasure Hoard here, when you conquer, you may play a gold token. So you're getting the gold token and you're getting the might. If you don't even want to use it, you're just stockpiling gold for your Ornn. You have Ornn's Forge on the left here, which is all your gear costs 1 less whenever you control this battlefield. So now like stuff is getting really cheap. Hextech Plate, you play it for free out and you attach it for free with your legend ability.
Yep.
Everything's free. And then the one that did get revealed, we can't pull it up here. You are not allowed to score this battlefield for the first 3 turns, or for your first 3 turns.
I saw that and thinking, like, what on earth are you printing? But then I can understand that Annie is going to hate that battlefield.
Annie's going to hate that. Let's slow this up. We're not even playing Aurora, so we're not too punished by just like full gear hate. We should be able to replenish our gears with Ornn, even if they do Thermo Beam or they do whatever. But it buys us time to get this Ornn out and not have the game be just over.
Yeah, I love that card for ramp strategies. I'm a bit worried about it being overly punishing to aggro, but I think this is where your
definitely
when I conquer effects are going to help you get there. It lets late game decks almost not have to worry as much for the first 3 turns. Because like when we see Aurora Yi can now play Aspirant's Climb, Sigil of the Storm, and this new battlefield, it's going to be like all of those are miserable to play on. If you're like a more aggressive opponent, it's like, oh, okay, I'm playing to 9, or okay, I can't score that battlefield before my opponent plays Aurora, so the game doesn't start until they say so. It's like I'm a bit worried about that battlefield, to be honest.
No,
I think it's
exactly. I really want to just make a go second deck, whip that battlefield out, and just say, ha 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 ha, I'm doing whatever I want, and we'll be here for an hour. And then if I may, one last card with my Ornn. I'm not sure if you can tell, I'm definitely the most excited about Ornn. I think Irelia will be very good. Ezreal, I need to see a little bit more. Ornn seems really cool to me, and I just like the playstyle of it.
Yeah.
If you go to green and you look up Shvel's song, that gear.
Yes.
Yes, here we go.
Shvel song.
As this is attached to it's a 3 energy, 1 calm rune, power, gear equipment. Equip 1 energy, 1 calm power. As this is attached to a unit, copy that unit's text to this equipment's effect text for as long as this is attached to it. So now, all your gold, all your different equipments are giving +2 instead of +1 to your Ornn. So it has deflect 4 on him because they sum up. So now if they want to foff you off, they have to send 4 runes back to just push you off a battlefield.
And the thing is, I can't even say this is a magical Christmas land deck because you get your chosen champion. So all you have to do is draw this card, attach it to Blue Ornn, and it's a bit of a nightmare. So wait, this card doesn't get the deflect. The unit it's equipped to would get the deflect, right? Is that how the rule works?
Basically, what it's saying is all that text that's there, you take whatever text is on the card, you put in that green spot. That text, when you equip an equipment to a unit, that green text or whatever color it is essentially just added text to that unit. And so it will say deflect 2 and it'll say deflect 2. And then in the rules, I looked it up before. I don't have the exact rule on me. Actually, give me just 1 second. I can find it so quickly.
Yeah.
Rule 730.2. This is for shield, but it works the same way for deflect. If a unit has shield or has been granted shield and is granted shield by an additional source, the shield value of all granted shield keywords is summed. And you can replace that with assault or deflect. They all work the same way. So it's granted 2 from the legend, 2 again down here. They should sum to 4 is my understanding.
I'd pay 4 to attempt to interact with my Orin when I have calm counter spells. No, thank you. I don't like this roll.
So the two options here are Orin is going to force Thermo Beam to be in the meta. If people are greedy and don't play Thermo Beam and they play Rocket Barrage or Salvage or these other ones that target something, you then run Wind Walls in this deck. And there's that new counter spell, the 2/1 green power, if you can find that one for me.
Of course.
I believe that one works how I think it will. Yeah, right there. Not so fast. Counter an enemy spell or ability that chooses a friendly unit or gear. So if I can run Wind Walls and Not So Fast, instead of having to run just Wind Walls and Mystic Reversals, or actually Mystic Reversal doesn't even save Thermo Beam.
No, it doesn't.
So
That's the cool thing about
Thermo
Thermo Beam. Is that your opponent can't steal it and not blow all their stuff up.
Exactly. So yeah. So if I can use Not So Fast instead of Defies for all of the just 1 gear hates, and then it also counters stuff like Falling Star, only half of it, you can counter like half of it. And then stuff like Yasuo, Green Yasuo coming in to actually kill, which again, they'll have to pay 4 deflect to target him, but they're going to have to kill him. And then use it, counter it after they target it. And they wasted 4 runes and it's gone.
So hear me out. This is where that Ezreal fits, right? Where you can double up Ezreal's effect, and then he's shooting things twice. In Orin, you obviously don't get to draw a card because you're not playing the Ezreal legend, but there's.
Oh, I see what you're saying. I don't hate that.
You've also got Styrax Gauge, which is an equipment. It's 3 energy, 2 calm power, and it has quick draw, which says this has reaction. When you play it, you can attach to a unit you control, so you just immediately attach it. Otherwise, you can equip it for 1 calm power, and it gives us +3 might. And you can put that on your Ezreal and just go ahead and shoot things for 6. You can play it after your opponent attacks in. You can also play it on your Orin, and your Orin gets +4. And still has Deflect 2, which is the most obnoxious thing I've heard all day.
Exactly. So this is just showing the many different builds, because you can go the mech build as well. That gives an extra deflect to it. So it'll have deflect 3, and then it'll have deflect 6 with Spell Song, I believe. And again, you just have to run 3 wind walls, because unchecked power and thermo beam will hard counter you. So you just have to main deck that. You just need to find a way to draw, which that's going to be the most difficult part. All this stuff is fun and memey, but there's like 3 real builds for it. Another thing also, Guardian's Angel here gives +2 and Zhonya's. So like we already would run Zhonya's for Ornn, and now we have it giving +2 instead of +1 from Zhonya, which is nice. Also, the other thing I love about Guardian's Angel, this was my green card for Ornn, or it was actually my green card for Aurelia, but then I skipped over it. Being able to exactly choose who gets the effect, because there's ways that purple can trick around, push a unit off, kill one thing. They can order a Cathian Rain or Falling Star in a way so that way the worst unit takes it. You can have Zhonya's hidden and react in time, but if they push you off that battlefield, you then have to reveal your Zhonya's, and then they can kill your Poro instead of your Yi, like in Master Yi, for example. This being no, it is this. This is what is going to be saved, and having that peace of mind, knowing exactly what unit's being saved, I do appreciate that.
Yeah, this is a great card for a lot of decks. And I really wish we could spend more time talking about all the cards and set. There's so much I want to froth at the mouth at, but this episode would go on all night, which may be all right for some people. However, we do encourage you, if you're a fan, to let us know if you'd like a part 2 to this. And we're happy to go through more reviews and more frothing at the mouth. Like, I'm pretty sure on some of your cards, I'm a believer. On some of them, I'm not. And I'm sure that feeling is mutual on your side there, Dr. Rick.
Oh, for sure. And I do apologize. I'm just frothy at the mouth for the next set. Been playing this game since July 23rd.
It's
and
been a
the
long
same
format.
cards over and over and over again. And I'm just so excited to have something new, just something new.
Yeah, all this new shiny stuff is incredible. This will be live in China very, very soon, so we'll start seeing some of the tournaments coming out from there. I'm sure we'll get lots of great coverage for it. We're going to be seeing online tournaments also shifting to this format. Thursday fight nights are going over to Spiritforged format, so I would recommend signing up. They only have 64 maximum slots. You play on Tabletop Simulator. There is a $20 prize, but you get to play with all this new stuff so you can start theory crafting, because for the Europeans, the first major tournament that we're going to get to play in is going to be Italy, which is going to be a Spiritforged set. So I'm excited to finally start practicing, because I can't go to Houston, and I couldn't make it to the US 10Ks. The first big event that I'll get to go to will be Italy. But
I want to jam one thing in there on the Italy tournament. Yep. I'm terrified for anyone going to that. You have 1 week, 2 weeks of the set being released. So finding cards is going to be miserable. And then whoever it's going to be a mixed match of just set 1 decks completely because they couldn't get set 2 cards. And then people who have full built set 2 cards that have been practicing online. It's going to be just, it's going to be something.
Do you want to know where you can get your cards from? Side Quest Games. Friends of the channel.
What?
I know, no one ever saw that coming. But yeah, no, I'm really looking forward to set 2. I think the set design for this has been awesome. As somebody got to work in card design on Yu-Gi-Oh! For a very long time, I think some of these cards are very flavorful. They're exciting. That's the key thing. They've really captured what makes me want to play around. I'm a connoisseur of jank, one might say. I would love cards that look bad, and then I try and make them work. I find that as a really exciting part of playing card games, and I think Riot has really captured so many cards that they all look like they have some use case, and it's just a case of figuring out if that use case lines up consistently enough with tournament play and what you need it to do. But Dr. Rick, do you have any channels or content you'd like to promote? This is the slot we usually hand over to our guests to say, come find me here on the interwebs, because you've been wonderful, and I'd love more people to find you.
I appreciate that. Yeah, so on Twitter, I'm just DrRickMarsh650, because you can concede at any time. And then I do have a twitch.tv/DrRickMarsh, but I haven't been streaming too much as of late, but I am expecting to bring that back up when Houston and Orlando are done. And so a lot of the Let's Practice needs to be privatized.
Good luck to you in Houston. What deck did you decide to go with, as you're going to be flying out for that, tomorrow?
Yeah, I'm flying tomorrow morning. I'm going to be soulless and just play Kaiser, and gives me the best chance. But next week at Orlando, I will be playing Yasuo for at least one of the days.
Yes, all right. We're definitely looking forward to that, and hopefully we catch you on the live stream. Are they doing live coverage for Houston?
I do believe so, and I believe anybody. I think they said that anybody can co-stream it. I would double check that, but I think they said they're chill with co-streams.
Well, that's really awesome of them. I guess it's right. They don't need more people following them on Twitch. But yeah, we're going to wrap it up here. Dr. Rick, thank you so much for coming on and enjoying this. And for all of our listeners as well, you've been great. If you made it this far in the cast, we love you. You're a big part of the reason that this has been exploding and doing really, really well for us. We're looking forward to having more great guests on in the future, like Dr. Rick. Like I mentioned earlier, we've got Prismat coming on soon. We've also got Tog. We've got an interview with them lined up. So all that good stuff to come in the near future. And if you don't want to miss out on when those are dropping, do remember to hit that subscribe button, and you'll be the first to know. But for now, we're going to sign it off here, guys. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next time. Cheers.
Thank you.
So for when you're editing a little bit later, April, this is the interim. I don't have any music, but actually I shouldn't be doing this because I don't know if Dr. Rick has wireless headphones or something, and then they could be listening to me sing this and they might think I'm actually insane. It's not terribly untrue.
Oh, don't worry. I definitely could hear you with my wireless headphones. I definitely was getting a nice little show, and I do appreciate it.
Knew it. I got.